You are good friends with one of the directors of Mesta Pty Limited. The company lacks proper financial presentation guidance, and you were appointed to assist them in correcting the presentation of their financial statements as per IAS 1 presentation of financial statements. You received the following email from your friend: to excellentakcountant@nwu.ac.za, from directorfriend@mestap.com, CC Financial Director@mestap.com, subject IAS Big Problems. Dear Excellent Accountant, we received news that the external audit firm will be visiting us next week, and our financial statements are currently in a very poor state. Well, that is the understatement of the century. I'm sending this email to you in order to request your help ASAP. Will you be able to advise us in rectifying the presentation of our financial information for the year ended 28 February 2016? Your assistance will be greatly appreciated. Please find our current financial statements attached to the email. Kind regards, Director Friend. The following PDF attachments were available. Income statement of Mesta Pty Limited. And before we carry on, write a memorandum to the Director Friend in which you advise him in rectifying the financial statements provided by Mesta in order to comply with IAS 1. Your answer should include advice regarding the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income and the statement of financial position. Calculations are not required, and limit your answer to the provisions and the requirements of IAS 1. Great stuff. The first thing that they send us is the so-called income statement. Income statement of Mesta Pty Limited. Now, immediately you see a mistake here, two mistakes. Mesta Pty Limited should have been a separate line item. Underneath of that is not income statement. It should have read statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. There's revaluation of land, so there is other comprehensive income for the year ended 28 February 2016. Great. Then in this column where you're going to indicate the figures, it should have been read 2016 Rand, and you should have provided comparative figures 2015 Rand. Now, in the income statement, we do not make a distinction between income and expenses. The only place where you make that distinction is in the profit before tax note. There you distinguish between income items and expense items, but not on the face of the income statement. The first thing is sales. Now, we don't call it sales anymore. According to IAS 1, we have to call it revenue. Underneath revenue, we have to show cost of sales, and then we should have calculated our gross profit. Underneath of that, we would have had other operating income. I do not see any. Current year revaluation of land is other comprehensive income, and it should not appear in the net profit section of the income statement. It should appear in the other comprehensive income section of the income statement. Right. Then we would have had, they identify here other expenses, depreciation, equipment purchase, dividends paid, all that kind of rubbish. Expenses, if I'm going to follow the function of the expenses method, should be divided between administrative expenses, selling and distribution expenses, and other operating expenses. So it's not only one figure, it should be either one of those three. It must be broken down in those three categories. The same applies to depreciation. Depreciation should be shown where on the asset which is going to be used for a certain purpose. If I'm going to have a delivery vehicle, the depreciation on the delivery vehicles will be included under selling and distribution costs. The depreciation on office equipment will be shown under administrative expenses. So I have to have a look where I'm going to use this asset, and then we're going to show the depreciation on that asset under that section of expenses, either admin, selling and distribution, or other operating expenses, but definitely not as a line item on its own on the face of the statement of profit or loss. Net difference between income and expense, interest expense. You are not allowed to net off income and expenses against each other. Interest income is probably going to be investment income, and there's a separate line item for that on the face of the statement. Interest expense is finance costs, and there's for sure a separate line item for financing costs on the face of the statement of profit or loss. equipment purchased. Last time I checked, I have to capitalize equipment purchase. So the debit side of that entry will not go against the income statement as an expense item, but it will be shown as an asset in my statement of financial position. Dividends paid is a distribution to the owners of this entity, and therefore it needs to be shown in the statement of changes in equity, also not in the income statement. Now, after I've deducted my expenses and I've added my other operating income to my gross profit, I should get a line item net income before tax. Underneath that, I'm going to record my taxation expense for the year. And then I will have a net profit for the year after that. Under the net profit for the year, I will have other comprehensive income, and there I will show my revaluation surplus of 800,000 Rand. So my other comprehensive income of 800,000 should not be included in my net profit for the year. That is included as an other comprehensive income figure. When we move to our statement of financial position of Mestap on 28 February 2016, you know that the name of the entity again should appear as a separate line item. Statement of financial position as at 28 February 2016, 2016 Rand, 2015 Rand. No comparative figures, and on top of that on that column where the figures are appearing, indicate the year figure that I'm going to talk about. Assets, and then they list a lot of assets here. Now you know that assets should be divided between non-current assets and current assets. Land and buildings, equipment, that should all be grouped together in my IAS 16 note, and on the face of my statement of financial position, I will have a one line item, property, plant and equipment with one total. My revaluation surplus here, you see it's in brackets, so that's the credit side of the entry. That forms part of equity. So that revaluation surplus should have been shown under the equity section of 800,000. What he has done here, he debited his land and buildings with 800,000 and he credited his revaluation reserve with 800,000. And now he showed both as an asset, so what did he do? Absolutely nothing. He reduced his value of his asset again to 900,000 to 900,000. So revaluation surplus is the equity item and it should be shown under equity. Inventory is a current asset. It should be shown under the heading current asset, and the same apply to debtors and cash equivalents. Now, creditors is for sure not an asset and you cannot subtract it from assets. So creditors should be shown as current liabilities. Investments at cost. Now that is a non-current asset, it's a financial asset, and that should be shown under the heading non-current assets. And then I would have derived at total assets. Also here, if you're going to look at this, 8. Now if I just look very quickly, this thing doesn't add up. So the total assets, the total is not right either. Under equity and liabilities, we will show ordinary share capital, preference share capital. Well, we're going to see in some instances you don't show the preference share capital there, but let's assume that that is correct. Retained earnings, that is part of equity. So that should have been shown there as part of equity, as well as we said the revaluation surplus should have been shown as part of equity. Liabilities should again be divided into non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Under non-current liabilities would have been long-term loans where the repayment is going to take place in a period longer than 12 months after the financial year end. If a certain portion of that loan is going to be repayable in the next financial year, it should be transferred to short-term portion of long-term loan. Shareholders for dividends, now that is a current liability, it should be shown there. Remember we had creditors here on top. We've said that that should be shown as a current liability. Shareholders for dividends is a current liability, and SARS for income taxes, that is also a current liability. So if you're going to check quickly whether we have covered everything, let's just see here. Remember, he wanted you to write a memo, so you will address this to somebody. You will tell him from whom it is, what the date, and what is the subject matter on hand. Statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, comparative figures, the heading, the year ended 28 February. The statement must commence with revenue minus cost of sales. Dividends paid should be in the statement of changes in equity. Equipment must not be reflected. It should be shown as part of my assets. Tax, own line item, revaluation under other comprehensive income. Interest income and expense may not be offset against each other. Net profit for the year should not include the revaluation surplus that is in total comprehensive income. No need for income and expense headings, and expenditure should be classified as admin, distribution, and other expenses. And there is no notes heading and reference to any notes. That one we left out. Statement of financial positions. Assets and liabilities need to be divided in non-current and current assets and liabilities. Revaluation surpluses is equity. Creditors is current liabilities. Retained earnings is equity. Equipment, land and building should be presented as a single value in the heading line item property, plant and equipment. Comparative figures need to be reflected in total assets. Does not add up. Easy peasy. You can count your lucky stars if you get a simple question like this. If you're going to get a question like this, it will be a very short question, most probably only in one test, and definitely you will receive in the exam something much more complicated.